Pixar movies whose ending you misunderstood, part 11. If you watched Turning Red and said the film is just about teenagers rebelling against their parents, congratulations, you misunderstood the film. This one's definitely easier to get wrong because a lot of it has to do with Chinese immigrant culture and the experience of being a teenage girl, something that white dudes like me don't exactly relate to. In fact, I really didn't understand the themes of this film until I saw a Chinese Canadian break it down. Go check out Jiren's video, by the way. It goes into a lot more detail. So in Turning Red, Mei Lin's mother explains that their ancestor Sun Yi was granted the power of the Red Panda in order to defend her family while the men were away at war during the Ming Dynasty. This gift was passed down to the women in their lineage, but modern generations chose to suppress their abilities, and what's significant is that they didn't choose to do that until they came to North America. And while that was partly because they no longer had the need for this defensive power, this also serves as an allegory for the immigrant experience, particularly with East Asian families, who would often hide or tone down their cultural traditions in order to better fit into Western society. In the modern world, more and more younger generations are choosing to embrace and double down on their heritage as cultural attitudes become more tolerant. So Mei's insistence of freely using the panda transformation in some ways represents her embracing her heritage and not being ashamed of it. This is further illustrated in the ending when she chooses to keep the panda but the rest of her family doesn't, and you can see that the spirit of Sun Yi is proud that her descendant is choosing to embrace that unique part of their heritage. There's also clearly a commentary about generational expectations. We learn that Mei's mother Ming was raised with a constant expectation to be perfect, a common experience with Asian families, and had a violent outburst as a teenager which hurt her mother and damaged their relationship. That generational trauma was passed on to Mei, which is why Ming was so overbearing. The film isn't trying to say that you should just accept when teenagers rebel against their parents. It's more that these characters had to have that opposition in order for the generational walls to break down, and they could come to a mutual and healthy acceptance. You see that the aunties not only accept Mei's choice, but Mei accepts her family's choice, and while Ming is more reluctant, that's because it takes time to move past this generational trauma and accept Mei for who she wants to be. Oh, and also the red panda is a metaphor for menstruation. I think most adults got that, and they handle it with sensitivity and humor, and that topic shouldn't be any more taboo than going to the bathroom because it is a normal thing that like half the population has to deal with. And if you think that that's inappropriate or sexual, then the problem isn't the movie, it's you for sexualizing it. Whether or not kids understand and interpret Turning Red correctly is really up to the parents. You know your kids better than the studio does. And there's nothing wrong with disliking the film because it doesn't speak to you the way it does for the demographics that it's representing. But there is more depth and nuance to this film than I think a lot of people give it credit for, and you shouldn't just write it off because you personally weren't moved by it.